Jocko, hindsight is 2020. But here's a crazy thought. North Korean soldiers would have ended up with a better life like South Korea if they did not fight as they did in the 50s. When should a soldier question his leader's values?
That is not a crazy question at all. And the answer is very straightforward. A soldier should always question their leaders, not just their leaders' values, but their leaders' plans, their leaders' strategies, their leaders' vision. You should question everything that your leader is telling you. And if you see something is wrong, then you should raise your hand and call it out. And I would say not only is it something that you should do, it's actually your duty. It's actually your duty is to raise your hand as a soldier. And I'll tell you, this doesn't only apply to the military. It applies to any organization. And it might sound like I'm encouraging mutiny or rebellion, but actually the opposite is true. If you have a team that questions the leader doesn't become weaker, the leader becomes stronger. If he's a good leader, if he's on the right path, if he's doing the right thing, he becomes stronger because everyone starts to understand why things are happening. They understand the vision more fully. If the leader doesn't have a good vision and he's getting questioned and he can't answer the questions, yeah, he might have a mutiny on his hands, but it's not because the people are asking questions, because he doesn't know what he's doing. So the leader can't see everything and he can't solve every problem or have every idea, but the collective mind of an organization can make that happen. And that's why as a leader, if I'm in a leadership position, I want my subordinates to question me. I want them to question me. And like I said, if I don't have a good answer, I either need to find one, and if I can't find one, then maybe I'm actually doing something wrong. That's entirely possible. And now if we want to talk about like a moral or an ethical perspective, then absolutely. And there was a group of high-ranking soldiers in Nazi Germany that tried to kill Hitler. And unfortunately, they failed, but they did the right thing in trying to kill him. They did the right thing. Like, not only did they question him, they knew he was wrong, and they said, okay, we're going to kill him. Now, do you put yourself at risk when you ask these questions? Because I'm sitting here saying, yeah, I want my subordinates to ask questions. There's people that don't want their subordinates to ask questions. Not good leader. Not good leadership. That's not a good way to lead. I'm sorry. I'm telling you the truth. I mean, and so there's a risk, because if your leader doesn't want you to ask questions and you raise your hands and ask a question and you do it in an untactful way and you do it in a way that offends your leader, well, then you might end up getting fired. Or if you try and kill Hitler, you might get killed yourself, because that's what Hitler did. After his assassination attempt, he went and killed a bunch of people, including Rommel, his best general, because he thought he was involved in it. So you're definitely taking a risk, but then you have to ask yourself, what is the alternative? So in a moral or ethical situation, what's the alternative? And I'm not saying there's no alternative, because sometimes maybe you'd be better not trying to kill Hitler, but rise in the ranks and get to a situation where you can have more control and mitigate the damage that he's doing to the country, right? That's a possible consideration to take. Maybe you say, okay, you know what, Hitler, I'm going to be your guy, and I'm going to do things so that way you can rise up in the ranks and be in a position where you can stop his bad decisions. As opposed to, if you try and kill him and you fail, I mean, obviously once you're dead, you don't have any influence over the organization. Same thing if you're in a business where there's something going on and you want to raise your hand, and yet if you raise your hand, you know that there's a risk that you might either A, get fired, or you might get demoted, or you might get put out of your leadership position, and now you're letting down, now you can't have an influence over the scenario anymore. So that's something to consider as well. Takes a significant level of moral courage to stand up in those situations, and you have to be tactful. I think that's important to say. You have to be tactful. You don't walk in and just start questioning your leadership immediately. You have to build the relationship first. You have to grow your trust between each other, and then once you have that, you can then tactfully bring up questions and try and get to the bottom of why things are happening or why things are being done a certain way or another way. Question your leadership. And if you're a leader, don't get offended when you get questioned. Be happy. Be happy.
Even when your kids do it.
even when your kids do it, especially when your kids do it.
Yeah.
Because you always want to take that easy out. Just do what I told you to do.
Yeah. Do what I
I'm
say.
the
that
dad.
Way. Yeah.
It's different than it's not what I say. Okay, you caught yourself.
Yeah,
I
totally.
like that. Oh, dang. Self-policing over there.
Yeah, that's
outstanding.
What about when they always when they always say why? And then here's the thing you got to be careful of. I'm speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, this is old school, like, oh, why? Oh, because of this. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? And then it gets fun to them just to say why.
For
they
sure.
don't even want to know why. Now it just becomes a game. Then what? Just shut it right down.
Well, no.
That's when you should. You
This
just
is-
keep, oh, it's me against you now.
Oh, no.
What?
Just go jiu-jitsu on them. They ask why, you ask them a question back. Why do you think it goes that way? And then they'll say, well, I don't know. Well, why? Why don't you know? Just one sweep. It's just a mental sweep.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, that's real good, actually.
Speaking from experience, I got 4 kids.